Well, good evening, everybody. This is our little post-race show here. We had a great race tonight here at Daytona. William Kirwan alongside Jeffrey Ordon. I hope I'm saying that right.
Ordon. Why don't you go
Ordon,
back to that?
Ordon.
Yeah.
Okay. And Jeff, it was seemed like a pretty tame race there. Towards the end, the last lap there, got kind of crazy.
Yeah. I on that last restart, I was fourth place and second on the outside, and I got hung out to dry. I went right to the rear, and I said, okay, that's about where I'm going to end up. And then just by sheer luck, that the fourth turn, everything, basically everything broke loose, and I was able to salvage a fourth.
Yeah, we're taking a look at the last lap here right now, and I was leading there. And then looks like Adam and Dave get together. They cause somewhat of a crash, and then here we go to the line. It was me and George and Thomas Teagan there, and I was trying to block him. I didn't know if he was had a good run, and of course I made contact with him and sends a 13 flying, and out of nowhere comes Nate, and he gets his fourth win of the season.
Yeah, how far was Nate back?
He was. I'm gonna have to let me go back and try to look at that one more time. Rewind this a little bit. He was in the group there. I don't know if you're watching my screen.
Yeah, yeah.
He got through that first wreck, maybe just a little bit under a second.
Yeah, because I didn't think he was up front, but closer to where I was.
Yeah, and of course, comes home with the victory. He only gains a couple points on George. George came home second after that contact. Um, but it was a pretty tame night. It wasn't one of our biggest fields we've had all season. I think one of the things that I've noticed in leagues is that a lot of people, if they're not in the championship, they decide to start not racing anymore.
Yeah, I've seen that myself. And it's too bad because I'd love to see. I think this is a great league. I'd love to see maybe six or seven more drivers come on a regular basis. You have a field of 15 or so. With the points race being that close, things are not wrapped up even for the first four positions.
And Nate doing some burnouts there. We're gonna try to get him on next week there after Talladega. Um, Jeff, you're sitting fourth in the points right now. Kind of don't have a shot at it. And like you said, just trying to keep these guys in the league. It's the best thing to do. And you see Nate kind of stuck there, gets it on the track. This was about maybe like 10, 15 minutes ago, so it's not live.
Yeah, right.
And that's pretty much that. There was a race tonight. Um, so Jeff, when did you start racing? When did you start getting into sim racing or iRacing or whatever you used to do?
Well, actually, this is gonna sound very much with what like George said last week. I listened to the after race talk last week. I started with the Hawaii program with NASCAR racing. I think it was 92, 93. Then it went to what's called the NRO series, National NASCAR Racing Online Series. And I think that was a little later. I think it was based on NASCAR too. And that's when it was dial up, like George had said. And I had phone bills of $120, $140 long distance a month. So it was that's when long distance was not free. So
Yeah, yeah.
it was a little pricey. And my rig, my first wheel and pedals were aircraft. Basically, I used rudder pedals and used an aircraft wheel,
Hmm.
or for my first setup. I ended up getting a Thompson Super Wheel, and they're actually still in business. Believe it or not, it was an absolute homemade wheel, and it worked really well. But I raced for maybe 2 or 3 years, and then my kids started getting a little older, and I got busy with them, and I sort of dropped out of it. And then Actually, my two boys, both of them are gamers. One my youngest boy said, "Hey, Dad, they're and I know I love racing. Say this is this iRacing thing. You should check it out." And I didn't do it right away, but it took about maybe 4 or 5 years down the road, and I saw it getting bigger and bigger, and I got involved maybe 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay, yeah, yeah. I like I told them last week. I started when I was a kid. I got NR2, but it didn't work on my computer. And then I found and NASCAR Racing, the first one in Walmart, and I got it. And I used to do the keyboard. I didn't have a wheel or nothing, and took me a while to figure out how to do a pit stop because I would use the down button that's supposed to be for reverse, and I go in the pit stall and they won't do nothing. I was like, man, what is going on? What am I doing wrong? And then I found out you need to use the brakes to go to the pit stop. I was like, oh, I thought I was always using the brakes. And then yeah, played the PlayStation and whatever Xbox NASCAR games, and it's been about 11 years now. I got onto this. I did the first. I did the one of the first 500s they ran, and then I liked it. I finished I think seventh in that race, and joined up and with George, met him and Nioska, and we did that for a few years until they shut down. And then I kind of got off it with the kids and moving into a place where the internet wasn't so good for a bit there. So I did NR 2003 by myself for a bunch of years.
Yeah, it did take me a while from the time that my one son mentioned iRacing to getting involved, just because we were still at the point where they were involved with some things, and they're going through school and stuff, and and everything else that happens. But I think it was probably closer to 6 or 7 years before I actually started playing around with it.
And so what else do you do? I know you live close to George.
Oh yeah, that was amazing. Yeah, I actually live across town from George. He mentioned that last week, and I'm an IT. I do I'm an IT administrator for a small mortgage company here in the Capital District up in upstate New York, and I've had several jobs in IT. I've actually been probably been in the field close to about 38 years, and that should give you a guess of how old I am. um, one of my first IT jobs was actually at Coleco Electronics in Amsterdam, which is not too far away from here. And I worked on the Atom computer, and that was supposed to be the Commodore 64 killer, but wasn't because of just very poor shortcuts on the manufacturing side. It was too bad because it was a nice little unit.
Sorry, I just realized something I might have messed up, but yeah, and and then I believe you do like the ham radio stuff, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I definitely do. I've been a ham radio operator for God since 1975, and it's a fun hobby. I've got other hobbies besides that. I've got a vintage Corvette convertible, 1965 convertible, and then I just got my wife a 2015 Corvette convertible. So the 65 you can take at the shows and stuff and have a
Yeah.
little fun with it. But if you're gonna go on a an overnight or a weekend trip, it's not something you want to take for a few reasons.
Yeah, I like Mustangs. We had one and we had to unfortunately get rid of it last year. And I had a '87 Mustang. Um, my dad sold it uh, when my parents got divorced. So and then my mom had a 2004, 2005 Mustang. She sold that. My dad had a whole bunch of different year Mustangs in the garage too.
Yeah, for the longest time, I was a Chrysler guy. That's how I started. And no big surprise, I'm a Richard Petty fan. Maybe I don't know if that was first, and I like Chryslers after that, or if I like Chryslers and I like Richard Petty. I can't really remember. But yeah, the Corvette convertible. I was vacationing with my parents down in the Jersey Shore. Probably I was 14, 15 years old. You get to that age and you start looking at cars, you start getting excited about getting your license. And the owner of the hotel had a Corvette convertible that was the same color and the same interior that I have, and it just stuck in my mind. I said someday I'm going to have that car, and it took a long time, but I finally got it.
And
Now,
oh, go ahead.
yeah, actually, again, this is sort of George and I got to get together because actually we do have a lot in common. He mentioned that he vacations at a camp on a local lake up in the Adirondacks, and talking offline with George, I know where that is, and actually we're building a house there, and we're at the process. We're probably another couple months away from moving in, and since one of the one of the few good things of the pandemic, it basically has allowed me to work remotely. And if that wasn't a possibility, I probably would have waited a few years before I made the move.
Yeah, I was at George's house about maybe 9 or 10 years ago. There, well, I actually met him in Virginia Beach. He came with his daughters had some kind of meet in Virginia Beach, and then me and him got to hanging out, and then I met my other buddy that was part of our racing team back then in Charlotte the same day, and then he has a pretty cool house there. He's got a nice bar downstairs. That's where I'm assuming that's where his stuff is still at in his house, his racing stuff.
Yeah, I would think so. And I know he was talking about losing one of his antennas. Um, I think this last big storm we had, big wet snowstorm.
Yeah,
And yeah, I mean, and based on the size of the antenna, he's got to have a pretty good piece of real estate because you got to get that up in the air and you got to have setbacks and stuff like that. So I'm sure he's got a really nice place.
yeah, yeah. He did. So hopefully you can hang out with him sometime soon. And Jeff, what are you thinking for next? We're gonna do that summer series. I know you said you're gonna kind of, we're gonna take, uh, you're gonna be a little bit busy during the summer there, but when we get back into it, what's your thoughts for coming back?
Oh, I'm definitely going to come back. This was a real fun series. I have signed up for the summer series, and I'll do as many races as I can. Some of the car combinations and tracks will be really interesting. But I'm really looking forward, frankly, to getting some more guys in the league, and that would be really fantastic if we could have, like I said, 15 to 20 guys show up every week. That would really help things. But super speedway is it's one of those things that I don't have a ton of time just because of my schedule to spend on iRacing, and super speedways I've just seem to be naturally competent at them. I mean, I'm not by any means an ace, but um, you know the other tracks that you go to, you got to put some time in to be competitive, and unfortunately for me right now, I just don't have that time to put into it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we had this is like one night a week, and I don't have time for the official series or nothing anymore. And then we had the Monday Truck Series, which didn't really work out too well. But if we do it again, we'll definitely make some changes to that. Um, yeah, I'm looking. I can't wait for this. Have some fun during the summer, and get back into it. Probably back in the end of September, October time frame, and get back into some racing there. And you picked up a victory here earlier this season there, and how'd that feel for you?
It actually felt really good. It's kind of funny. My wife, she's done. Especially during the work week, she's ready for bed at 9:30 at night. So a lot of these races, obviously where we are now, it's almost 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
They finish a little later. So the first thing when I sort of rustle in, she asked me how I placed, and it was nice to be able to tell her that I won one. And I just have to be in the right place at the right time. David Hurt gave me a great push at the end, got me over the line. I think George was coming pretty hard, and I think if it wasn't for David's push, I might have gotten clipped right at the line.
Yeah, we went on a streak there. You, David Hurt, and the newcomer Nathaniel Taylor there, getting some wins. And I'm liking this whole. Everybody's got to be in the same chat for now until we get some more people.
Yeah, I think that works. I think it really does. I tell you, I mean, this is a it's a nice balance of guys that just like to race and have a lot of fun, but are competitive at the same time. You'll have one or the other, but it's hard to find a league that has both.
All right, Jeff. Before we let you go, you have any final thoughts?
Looking forward to the last two races of the season, and then the summer series will be fun. It's a non-point deal where you make the races you can, and then we'll gear up for the fall, and hopefully at least for me, I'll have a shot at the championship. As it with this maybe this time next season we'll see. I took a provisional, and I think I had a couple races that I finished, but I was way back, and that sort of
Yeah.
took it away from me.
Yeah, we do have that one drop week. So, 11 races will count out of your 12 this season. So, um, all right, everybody. We'll see you next week after the Talladega race. Hopefully, we can get points leader Nate Manwaring and maybe even George Burns and maybe one more guest come